And my next segment, Kill the Thing You Love. This is going to be a monthly segment with me and my friend Ted Jackins. Ted Jackins is an author, poet, artist, musician, songwriter, overall good human. You can find their work on Substack. Their blog is called Kill the Thing You Love. And on Bandcamp, where you can find their music at Kill the Thing You Love. Uh, Ted and I are going to kick it once a month and talk about music and art, and I hope you dig. Hey, Ted, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. Uh, Very excited to do this.
Yeah, when I wanted to start this little weird project we're doing here, one of the first humans that I thought of like working with was you. First of all, I know you have a little free time, and I know you're a brilliant artist, and I was like, and like a wonderful, good human that I wanted to like spend a little time with virtually.
Sure, sure. Always happy to talk shop with somebody who's been there.
Yeah. Ted, do me a favor,
Mhm.
on this pilot episode. Tell us about some of your art and your creativity. I know you do music, you paint, you draw, you write brilliant poetry, but tell us some about your life as an artist.
Well, I made a record a couple of years ago that I feel like uh, was named aptly because it's kind of been my motto with everything that I do. Is that it's called what it is to be a person, and that's pretty much my motto. And I feel like my philosophy on art and what most art are really like the kind of art that really hits you in the chest is essentially saying the same thing. This is what it's like to be a person. This is what scares me. This is what makes me happy. This is what makes me sad. These are what make me angry. Um, just trying to put that across, whether it's with a paintbrush or a camera, guitar, or poetry. It's just, it all comes from the same place. It's just this. I tell people it's kind of like a rat's nest in here. There's just, like that king rat situation with like all the tails tied together. It's just this festering, and it has to come out somewhere. And every other way that I ever tried to let it out, usually got me put in an institution or something like that. So I had to find something healthy. And thankfully, art has just always been this therapy for me. So yeah, it's just it, this is what it's like to be a person in 2025. Is essentially where it comes from.
Yeah. What creative projects are you been working on lately? Anything?
Well, I am waiting to hear back from a publisher for next chapbook, which is about 40 to 42 pages. Um, uh, it's called But Did You Die, which is another kind of motto that I've had. Is as you know, as a lot of people know, I mean, me and my wife both have been kind of through the ringer these past couple of years. So, but did you die? Became like this little thing that I lived by. It's like, yeah, that was really bad, but I'm still here somehow. And uh, just waiting to hear on that. That's it's a really dark book. A lot of dealing with mortality, which I think everybody in their 40s starts to really think about that shit. I mean, in the case of losing Jeff Taylor and Brian and a lot of other people these past few years, I mean, you really
Yeah.
start to consider this thing. So there's a lot of stuff about that, and just I went through a little bit of being displaced, living in a hotel room, and just stuff dealing with that. And I finally felt comfortable to write about my gender identity as well. So there's all those things kind of going on. Um, Musically, I just put out an instrumental record. Was dance songs of the resistance, and it's just I would get high and record myself just jamming on guitar, and uh, it was basically my mission statement of opposing fascism, uh, in every way, and the only way I really know how to do that is through art. So,
What it's called? Dance Songs for the Revolution?
dance songs of the resistance.
Dance Songs of the Resistance. Where can people find that to listen?
That is on my Bandcamp. I can send you the link so you'll have it. But that is what is it? Conversations with the Ghost at or dot bandcamp.com. But I'll send that to you just so you know.
Now we know a little bit about Ted. Ted is going to be a regular segment. We haven't exactly decided what to call it. Maybe What's Up with Ted or What Up Ted. I don't know. But Ted's going to be a weekly guest or weekly co-host on this segment, and we're going to talk about music and art and probably who knows what else. Uh, I I say that because I want to ask you, Ted. What are you? You're wearing a truckers shirt, first of all.
Oh
Shouts
yeah.
out to drive-by truckers. But what have you been listening to lately?
Oh well. I'm glad you asked. I actually set aside a couple of CDs so I would remember what to talk about. Um, as far as like stuff that I just have downloaded, I really like the Marshall Allen record from Sun Ra Orchestra. It's just you know uh, it's something as simple as him doing like soloing over the simple blues kind of refrain is just uh, feels he somehow makes it sound revolutionary, and just I love that record. And uh, let's see, I've also been kind of going back down a rabbit hole because I'm slowly but surely trying to gather material for this book I want to write about North Carolina punk rock music.
Hmm.
Um, I grew up a punk kid in North Carolina, going to these shows, and one of the bands that really spoke to me, I'll put that up there, is Piss Shit Fuck. Very delightful name, but this band changed my life, man. When I was like 15, playing in my first bands and stuff, the head guy from PSF, Mike Ray, kind of took a liking to me as he tended to do with some of the younger punk kids. He would give you studio time and give you shows and stuff like that. But this is like crazy, like black metal influenced hardcore punk rock music with like ska influences and noise. And I think he recorded this in like his living room or something like that. It's really political, really angry, and hell, who doesn't need that right now? And then moving right along, there's also this band Hellraiser. It's Life After Death. They're like a one man black metal band. I'm not sure where they're from, but man, this is a killer record. I got it off Bandcamp as well, and that was from a record label called Reaper Metal Productions. I think it was yeah Reaper Metal Production, and came out in 2020. But it's just like blistering, straight ahead, extreme metal music. It's gonna sound really good at a skate park. Um, and then we got a twofer from Bob Pollard. He's an Ohio boy uh, from Dayton, and it's just I mean, I never get tired of whether he's in Guided by Voices or solo or any one of his numerous projects. It's just there's something about good guitar driven power pop music that just scratches an itch in my brain. So those are uh, those are kind of the main things. But I mean, I'm always going through phases with music where I'll only listen to hip hop, I'll only listen to jazz, I'll only you know, be
Really?
really, yeah, I started doing this thing within the last 2 years where I started doing deep dives with bands where I would just listen to everything in order. And I did that with like uh, The Cure. I did that with Wilco. I did that with the Truckers. And just I would pick an artist and just kind of work my way through their catalog and uh, really learned a lot, found a lot of new favorites. So uh, it's just always shifting, and I'm always discovering new stuff. It's just it's an addiction in its own way.
Yeah, I'm always looking for something new. I do a lot of deep dives too, and I get fascinated. And mine are so varied. Like I did a Led Zeppelin one recently. What a fascinating rabbit hole to get stuck in. My most recent one kind of connected me and Ted to this project. We like I've been fascinated with Sun Ra lately, man.
I,
Sun Ra is there may never be another artist quite like Sun Ra. You know?
there really isn't. I mean, you look at like the people he's influenced. I mean, the jazz guys, the other jazz guys, they didn't get it, you know. But like the punks, and then like Sonic Youth took a big influence, which that's kind of how I found him. Was Sonic Youth and Yo La Tengo both, talked him up and did shows with them while he was still here, and um, you just look at the people he's influenced from outside of jazz, and just yeah, I mean, there was a visual thing, like the Afrofuturism kind of thing, and like a philosophy. I mean,
Yeah,
there's so much to dig into.
yeah. Somebody was asking me about him, and I was like, the best way I can describe him is an experimental jazz person that exceed that like it, somehow rose above jazz and truly might have been a person that wasn't human. Like
Yeah, I
the
mean,
Sun Ra, talking about space and all this. Like he might not have been human. Who knows?
yeah, I mean, there were there are artists like that, and it's usually artists, but there's just um, well, I mean, I kind of look at maybe Einstein even being there's kinds of people that's like they're operating on a completely different plane from
Yeah,
other people, like just the way they think.
yeah,
Uh, and yeah, Ra was definitely one of those. I feel like you know Dylan in his way is kind of like that Coltrane for sure.
yeah. We haven't even talked about Coltrane, but Coltrane's my guy, man. Yeah,
Oh, I totally get it. Hey, man, I've got a poster like in my living room, or not my living room, but my bedroom, above my record player. That's like from 1966, I think, performance.
mm,
Um, and yeah, Coltrane's he's definitely up there. I mean, he's from High Point, North Carolina originally, and I've drove past his house and seen like his piano at the museum, and there's a statue of him
man.
uh, downtown High Point. Yeah, um, a lot of jazz guys from North Carolina. I mean, Thelonious Monk's from Rocky Mount. I used to live like 45 minutes from there, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, that's at least one great last question here. We've got just a few minutes left. If you had to choose one album that you've listened to probably the most, what would that album be?
That's a loaded question. Well, I mean, I guess it could be kind of basic. Nirvana's In Utero. That was the album that made me feel like I've got to get a guitar. Like I just remember, I came into Nirvana like everybody else around Nevermind in there, but In Euro was the one that I went out and bought shortly before Kurt died, and it just, yeah, I keep coming back to that one. That one's a palate cleanser. album for me because it just sort of reminds me of like, oh yeah, that's why I do this.
My second favorite, probably most listened to album of all time, is a Nirvana album. My is that the MTV Unplugged.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That live, that album is one of, I think, my all-time favorite live album.
It's yeah, yeah. It's definitely up there for me as well. I mean, as far as Unplugged goes, it's that one and the Alice in Chains Unplugged are kind of tied for me. I
Yeah,
listened to both of those in my mom's car,
yeah,
but to the point where even my mom was like, talking about Alice in Chains, she's like, I really love the way that their voices blend together. And I was like, see, that's the power. My mom who didn't like most of the things or didn't understand most of the things I was into, she could hear, you know, that. But yeah, yeah, both of those unplugs are up there.
all right, man. Thanks for joining me, Ted. I look
Mhm.
forward to hanging out with you again soon, and see you next month.
All right, sure.